impending ecological catastrophes are very heavily concentrated in the near term in the developing world. There is a very real prospect that we will see 25 to 30 million people in Bangladesh displaced over the next 50 to 60 years. What we could see on a global scale is 360 million people becoming climate change refugees. Now, in a country like Bangladesh, to have 25 to 30 million climate change refugees raises questions for the whole future of human development in health, in education, in nutrition, and that's why we're arguing in the report that we really need to focus very strongly on the near-term threats that are now facing the world's poorest countries. What you can see here is the way in which a single flood event can really affect people's lives. Normally, in a normal year during the rainy season, the rains come, the land is inundated for about 3 weeks to 1 month, and then the water drains away. It's now been inundated for 3.5 and almost 4 months. This whole area that you can see here is normally planted to rice, which is one of the main crops for providing food and employment for the region. The families here have lost their entire rice crop. They're now concerned that the trees which have been planted over many generations here, mango trees, palm trees, will be destroyed. And so this is a demonstration of how a single flood event can transform a whole ecosystem.
ধরেন যে এই যে অবস্থা এতে যদি আমরা ফসলাবাদ না করতে পারি তাহলে আমাকে অবস্থা তো অন্ধকার হয়ে যাচ্ছে না
This is a village of about 2,000 people and it's been completely inundated. Some people have left the village altogether, but most of them have built up their shacks, new shacks along this area here out of bamboo and plastic. The reason that people have built their homes along this road is that it's now the only dry part of land that they have. It's the only part of their former village which is still above the waterline.
The developing countries are the ones who are going to feel it first and hardest, and the sad fact is that they are not the ones primarily responsible. In fact, the least developing countries didn't contribute anything to the current climate change we have.
It's extremely important to look at the scientific realities of climate change and the kinds of biophysical impacts it's going to create, and then convert that into what it really means for the lives of the poorest of the poor, because they are the ones who are really going to be affected.
The world's poorest people do not have assets to fall back on. They're not protected by flood defence systems. They're living absolutely on the front line in the areas of the world that are most prone to droughts, that are most prone to floods, and they have the least protection. We are warning in the report that there is a danger that these symptoms will translate into long-term human development setbacks. It's not the small farmer in northern Ethiopia who created the climate change problem. They're emitting virtually zero carbon into the Earth's atmosphere, and yet these are the people who will pay the highest price.
The part of the house is very light, it's from wood, and when the water is coming higher, it's automatically going to rise, and it's from a house to a boat. Because of the law in Holland, the government has to protect the people that there isn't any danger of high risk that the dike will break through. That's why the dike is on this place, that's why the dike is so strong.
One part of the world is spending billions of dollars protecting their citizens against climate shocks. Another part of the world, millions of people are being left to sink or swim their own resources.
The Universal Declaration talks about barbaric acts. Is it not somewhat barbaric to continue with energy policies that you know are going to have this impact and not have a much more rigorous approach to change?
the target ought to be to keep global temperature increases within a 2 degrees centigrade threshold. Now, in order to do that, we need to see the world's richest countries cutting their emissions by at least 80% by 2050. That is possible. We have to stop treating the Earth's atmosphere as though it's a free resource, and we have to stop treating CO2 emissions as though they don't have a cost attached. They do have a very high cost attached for humanity as a whole. The Human Development Report is not a counsel of despair, it's a call to action, and above all, it's a call to action to the world's richest countries. And in my view, playing Russian roulette with the lives of the world's poorest people and the future of the planet is not a smart game to play.